Yeah, the first thing is, I'm gonna gobble your dong. Dan. What the fuck?
Isn't it funny?
I was like, I was like, okay, well, I have to wait for One Piece to come back. And so what am I going to watch? And everything is like, I'm a level 400 dungeon master in a level 1 body or something. And I'm like, okay, not these. And then I was like, popular. And I was like, Dan. I was like, oh, I've heard of this one. All right. Ghost hunting or something like that. Oh my God. Then the first thing is
penis
like,
stealing.
Yeah, the first thing is, I'm going to gobble your dong. And I'm like,
yeah.
My God. And now they're hunting for his balls.
Yeah.
You've
it's
got to
so
be kidding
hilarious.
me. I was not ready for that. Like with anime, there's a certain level
honestly.
of like lewdness you kind of expect, but
yeah.
I was not prepared for the dong gobbling super granny. Hello and welcome to the Pixelated Realms Gamescast, your guide through the digital landscape, untangling the mysteries of your favorite titles and discussing the latest and greatest in video game fun. I'm your host, Alex Salerno, and alongside me is my brother, Tyler, and my good friend, Dustin. What's up, guys?
Hello.
Today, we are talking about the Game Awards. They happened last week. We talked about them before they went.
We live streamed it.
We live streamed it too. But last episode, we talked about them coming up. Then they happened, and now we're going to talk about what happened. We're also going to talk about a little bit about Pokemon, the trading card game, because they just announced a new expansion, so we'll dive into that just a bit. But first, some housekeeping. The best way you can support us is by going over to pixelatedrealms.org/Patreon. We have a Patreon page, and we don't ask for any money or anything on there. There are paid tiers, but it's not necessary. Everything is free on there once you subscribe. That's the best way you can keep up with news and show your support for us. And we really appreciate everyone who sticks around and has been, being part of the show and writing in and, commenting and everything. So we just want to say thank you. Okay, guys, what has been going on? What have you been playing? Dustin.
Pokemans, tons of Pokemans. Like you mentioned, they didn't announce a new expansion, Alex. Get your shit together. They launched their first mini expansion. Yes. So Mystical Island, or is it Mythical Island? Mythical Island.
Mythical.
I believe.
Mythical Island.
And there I fuck up as I'm giving Alex shit. So Mythical Island went live yesterday, 10 p.m. EST. I got crazy. Like, I'd been saving up my pack point, and not my pack points, my hourglasses, and popped like 34 packs. And had shit luck, people.
Oh my God.
Fucking garbage luck.
34 packs?
34 packs. I'm at 64 out of 68. I did buy like 3 cards of my pack dust that I had, which I think was like 170 or something like that. But just like Garbo luck in terms of my pulls. I did get Celebi, I did get Gyarados, EXs. I got the 2-star parallel Mew EX. So I got like a couple things, but for 34 packs, I got 1 fucking parallel alt art card, which is terrible luck. I think I pulled 3 Mew EXs, which is just insane. But I don't know what I guess I can flare, get some flair with it. But one thing I would love to see them implement in Pokemon, and I hope it's coming in the future. Jimmy would probably know. We can ask him when he's on, hopefully in the next week or 2. Actually, I'm going to be out like almost for 3 weeks, so you should have him on while I'm gone. Because I'm going to China, for people who didn't know that already. But yeah, it's just trash luck on my pulls. But what I was going to say is I'd like to see them implement a disenchant feature where you can take some of your extra cards. Again, I have 3 Mews already. I don't need 3 Mews. No one needs 3 Mews. I'd love to disenchant one of those for a couple, like for 100 pack dust or something, 200 pack dust.
Right. That makes sense.
It would cost me $12.50, I think, 500 to make that. So give me 250 pack dust. Let me disenchant it. Hearthstone does that. I think Hearthstone disenchants for either a quarter or 50% of what it costs to create the card. So, that would be a cool feature. It'd help people fill out their decks or their Pokedexes. I'm curious to see how the trading feature works. Something else, and I'll let you guys fill in on your thoughts on this too. But, when you hit level 10, they gave you 120 hourglasses. And that was cool because you're like, oh, fuck yeah. Well, that's 10 packs. They have not done something like that again, at least to my knowledge. In my experience, I'm at level almost 26 now. I'll probably hit 26 tomorrow. And it's just been 12 every level since 10. And like, it would be cool if like at level 20, they gave you 10 or 10 more packs. And level 30, you got 10 more packs. And it's just like, it's weird that they gave you 120 hourglasses at level 10, and they just have been super stingy since then. And like, it just kind of sucks. And it doesn't feel like the Pokegold rate for buying packs is like very good. I don't want to do that. I don't want to start getting sucked into Pokegold packs. So yeah, I don't know. That's my thing. RNG sucks. We need more hourglasses for free, and I want to disenchant shit. That's what really grinds my gears.
The 1 minute breakdown. Yeah, but no, I totally agree. I mean, I've been playing the game, but only for playing the packs or opening the packs, just because you get that good like dopamine hit. But I don't really like play the battles or anything like that. So it's just kind of a fun pastime for me. But I totally agree. Like, disenchant would be great, so you're not wasting all these extra cards. Because right now you have like a dozen extra cards of some low level card, and it's like to complete waste. And then whereas trading will be interesting, but
I am curious to see how trading works. Is it going to cost like a currency, I assume?
It's going
to be like a refillable thing, just like the Wonder Picks or the card, dust. So yeah, I'm kind of curious to see.
But yeah,
for
me,
the battling is important. So I want to see how these new decks play, but I haven't really spent a ton of time.
Yeah, and I think that the if you made like every 10 decks every 10 levels you get 120 hourglasses would help, because then people would want to battle to get those levels. Right now, it's not really worth the squeeze. You just do it for fun, but the progression isn't really there. So I think that would go a long way. I do think they need to like have more incentive with free things in the game. As of right now, it's only in the beginning, and then it's kind of done. And if they want this to have like longevity to it, they really need to keep the carrot out in front. Otherwise, why do it?
One video I listened to that Jimmy shared with us said that they made $300 million in the first month, which is fucking insane amount of money.
Insane. Considering
so
this game probably costs nothing to make.
Hourglasses,
Yeah.
Like,
wow.
Like people are
even
obviously
like, so I sucked in and I bought the fucking, I want to be a completionist with this game. So I fucking bought the premium pass. Yeah. Because I wanted, so it gives you, it's not really that bad of a value. You're getting 30 extra packs a month, right? So you want extra every day. And then you're also getting the promo card that's only available with with a premium. And then you're also getting like some extra opportunity to buy goodies that are only available to premium subscribers. But even if you just said, if you're a premium person, every expansion, we're going to give you 10 packs. Every time we release a new pack, the premium members will get 10 for free right off the bat. Like, do that. Like, I don't care if it's a little bit behind the paywall, and it shouldn't be. But if like that's what it comes down to, at least like hook up your subscribers a little bit more than you are. But even as a premium, I didn't get any extra shit other than just a one extra pack a day, But one thing I'll say, and then we can like jump if you guys want. But I've been playing against the computer for the solo event. And I will say, the only card that I've ran into so far that feels like it's going to just stick nasty, shake up the meta potentially, or like add a new meta opportunity is the Superior. It has an ability on it. So for the people watching YouTube, this card right here.
Superior.
Its ability is each leaf energy attached to your leaf Pokemon provides 2 additional energy. This effect doesn't stack. But what that means is your Venusaur with 2 energy now has 4. So you can fucking get to like those high-powered attacks really quick with that card. It's basically like the leaf version of that psychic card, except you don't have to fucking you don't have to add it to the Pokemon. You just automatically get 2, which is just fucking insane. There's also a new card in the deck where for if you have 3 extra energy, it does 70 extra damage. So it starts with 20. So you put 2 energy on that, and now all of a sudden you have 4. The 20 attack is 1. So you're getting a 90 attack hit for 2 energy. If you have that card out, which is pretty fucking strong too. And that card has 100 health. So I've been seeing a lot of the computer, that will be like their starter card. I'm seeing a lot of the times, you got like a golem out there doing 20 damage, trying to bring down 100 HP mob. So that's the card right now for me that I've seen where I'm like, this could do some damage. And like a superior Venusaur hybrid deck might be like pretty challenging to beat.
Very cool. You've been playing anything else or just full-time Pokemon trader now?
Pokemon and wrapping Christmas presents and getting ready to go to China. That's about it.
Yeah. All right, Ty, what about you?
I'm playing Call of Duty still. They released a new thing called, Jingle Hells. So it's like the Liberty Falls zombie map with Christmas decorations. And
right.
There's some other things like there's no like upgrade stations and workshop stations. So it's just like kind of harder. I played around today. I didn't find it to be that crazy. So I don't know. I'm kind of falling off on Black Ops a little bit because I feel like I'm running out of content. But yeah, I was reading a Reddit post today that just made me feel wonderful. It was like, the Reddit post was like, I don't know why people are saying like you have to be a no-lifer to get level 10 prestige. Like, I have a wife and 4 kids and a 50-hour-a-week job, and I'm level 100 prestige, max prestige. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like 4th prestige. Like, I don't know what you want from me, man. I was like, that's insane.
Go fuck yourself.
That guy's also completely neglecting his family.
Right. I'm like, what? Are you not cooking food? Like, are you not bathing? Like, do you play until like 2 a.m. every day?
Like, bathroom.
Right. So I just I just commented like, wow, you're killing it. But like, what mode are you like? So yeah. But yeah, other than that, I've been playing a little bit of the Indiana Jones game as I posted. You guys can watch those on our channel.
Yeah. You've been streaming them on our Pixelated Realms live stream on YouTube.
Yep, just trying to be cinematic about it. It's all I like have it cropped in the 21:9 like cinematic style. It has the film grain, so it just like feels like you're playing a Indiana Jones movie. I don't usually go for that stuff. Like, I didn't go for it in Outlaws, but for Indiana Jones, it works.
Yeah, I'm liking the game. I've been playing it a little bit too. I had to kind of merge ours together, so I like it a lot. So we're both in kind of the same area. So the way that the game kind of works is, other than the intro, they kind of drop you in. It's like semi-open world. It's kind of like
semi
like Dishonored, where it's not like open world, but they like drop you in an area, and there's multiple things you can do in an area. The area is pretty large, and you can go pick up quests from like little side quests, and then you can kind of jump around the map and do different things, and you climb things, and you like, you can change into costumes and get into new areas. So you spend quite a bit of time in one area. And then when you kind of are like complete with that area, then they'll truck you off to a new area. But we're still only in the first area, and it's pretty vast. Like, there's a lot to discover. Like, this, if it was a smaller developer, like, this could be a whole game, just this first area, right? Like a mini game. But I've been really enjoying it. I don't know. What about you? What are your thoughts?
It's just like really impressive that I really thought when I saw the trailer for this game the first time that we were just going to get like a first-person shooter that was labeled Indiana Jones, right? Like, I wasn't expecting it to be focusing on Indiana Jones, but like Bethesda, which is the developer of this.
No, Machine Games.
Oh, it's Machine Games. Yeah, you're right. So Machine Games just really like knocked it out of the park with the way they approached like this balance between like Indiana Jones is an adventure character, but he's also a professor, and so there's some educational aspects, but then there's also, you have a whip and you can whip the gun out of enemies' hands and some really cool things that like I haven't even discovered
beat up
yet.
Fascists. Yeah,
I did find that funny. I was like, you're going along the Vatican, like knocking out fascists, like labeled fascists, and I'm like,
yeah,
this I know it's like the 1930s Italy when like Mussolini, but like it's still like it kind of seems like we're just calling the Vatican fascist.
They take over the Vatican, right? It's not the like they kind of like move in, but yeah, it's super fun. But I agree, like, they do a really good job of making it feel like you're like uncovering a mystery. Kind of like it's not just about fighting. In fact, you do very little fighting realistically, like at least in the beginning.
Ideally.
Yeah, I mean, there are like you do like punch guys and stuff like that, but you almost never use your gun. Very rarely. Maybe you'll stun a guy with your whip or something, or you'll come up behind somebody and knock them out. Most of the time, there's a lot of stealth in it because you're like, oh, my goal is to, get some artifact that the fascists have stolen, which has an inscription on the back that'll help me get the next clue for the quest that I need. But then it also has a pretty good progression system where you end up finding these books around. And then the books will give you like kind of bonus powers and things like that, like do more damage punching or something. But a lot of them, some of them you can just find about, but a lot of them you get as side quests. So you really want to do these side quests. So you'll go and like some nun wants you to go and, find a book for her or something like that. And you're like, all right, I'm going to go find this book because she's probably going to give me some I want. There's also, and then there's like a point system to purchase those abilities from the books that you find. And one of the ways that you can get points for it is by taking photos with this camera you have of like prominent things around. So it's like really cool. It like really gets you to want to explore the world. And it gets you to like want to dive really deep into every nook and corner, and to the point of where like you don't even notice that you're not like, it's not like this fighter action game anymore. Like it just feels really fun to be in these like tense situations where you're surrounded by fascists and the Vatican, which is already a very cool and interesting location, and you're trying to uncover this mystery that's unfolding before you.
Yeah, I think like it's really cool when you're like in the outer world, or in the overworld, I should say, and you're kind of like interacting with all these people, but then you like discover this hidden room that leads down a passageway, and then suddenly the music changes and you find a torch, and now you're holding like a torch, and you get the like reveal of the caverns, and you're like, wow, I discovered this like totally by myself by solving clues. And so it's doing like a good video game should. It's really making you feel like you are Indiana Jones.
Yeah. And can I say Troy Baker is an absolute fucking legend. He sounds exactly like Harrison Ford. And I don't know how he does it, because he doesn't sound that deep in like when he's just talking in like his like award shows and things like that. And then he plays characters like Joel and Harrison Ford who have these really deep voices and stuff. And you're like, where does he like pull this from? Like it's amazing. It's just wild. But yeah, I mean, it's a free, I use this in quotes. It's on Game Pass. So it's like, I just feel like this is awesome, like game that I didn't really have to pay for.
I saw this pretty crazy take about Indiana Jones on LinkedIn, because every
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn psychos.
Yeah, pretty much. So this developer, I don't even know who the fuck he. I think some random guy just popped up on my. It's not anybody I'm connected with. Posted this huge post about how Indiana Jones is going to fail because the target audience for Indiana Jones is like people in their 40s and 50s, and that their young people don't care about Indiana Jones, and so because there's no invested interest in the IP, it's destined to fail. And that how did Bethesda not see this from a million miles away? Blah blah blah. And like he pretty much got like blasted on me, and I posted too, and I was just like, dude, if what you're saying is true, they're like, there's no like fan base amongst younger gamers for Indiana Jones, so it's destined to fail. It's like that would mean that every new IP ever made is going to fail because they don't have a fan base already amongst like 20-year-olds. It's like such a stupid fucking take.
It's also a myopic view of like the younger generations. Like at one time I was the younger generation, and I'm not in my 40s, but like at one time I was the younger generation. I remember watching Indiana Jones and thinking, this is fantastic. So just because you're 18 right now or 13, it doesn't mean you can't watch Indiana Jones and enjoy it. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, it's also a Disney property, and like people go on the Indiana Jones ride. It's still got a lot of like content out there. The movies, even though the last few, from what I've heard, I haven't watched them, haven't been great. Like they're still coming out with content. So,
there was a new one like
a really
couple years ago.
Fucking take. Yeah,
it's just alarmists, man.
Yeah, it's just it's somebody like it's just like talking heads in sports, dude. Like it's just people trying to say something outlandish to get engagement. And like,
the last film came out in 2023, The Dial of Destiny.
That was the one where his like daughter takes over, right? And like Shia LaBeouf's kicked out of the series.
It's not his daughter. It's like a friend of his daughter that he like kind of
adopts
under his wing.
Yeah,
they do need to. And maybe they did this in the last movie. They need to find like an heir right? Like Harrison
Mhm.
Ford's old as fuck. Like they
Dude.
need to find an heir
Yeah.
to the
He's too
series
drunk
that
to be
people like.
Indiana.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
they did kind of do that with this movie. The girl, they didn't directly make it like, oh, she's clearly taking over kind of a thing, but I think they left room for it. And I think it would make a lot of sense, to be honest. But I think they're also working against the era because, well, maybe not so much. Because like part of it that makes Indiana Jones is like the time frame of like having a very clear cut bad guy in a world turmoil era that
Nazis
has like
and not Nazis. Like there was a very
yeah. And also having like old technology, so he had to do everything like kind of manually, like he can't send a drone in, you know what I mean, like to do all the traps for him. So
I agree that like the 30s and 40s are kind of like the key Indiana Jones time
I think
frames.
they could probably do it up until the 80s, and then the 80s. I think if they were to like do like a reboot or like a new storyline, I think the 80s, because think of like Stranger Things, like there's still a lot of very cool potential for like that kind of adventure. But when you hit like the 90s and stuff, you kind of lose that because technology is starting to really get like advanced, and so you're like, oh, let's send in a camera that's really smart or
I
has
have a
thermal
phone
imaging.
now.
Yeah,
what about Tomb Raider? Tomb Raider's still successful.
I'm not saying that it's not possible to have that story. I'm talking about the specific Indiana Jonesy feeling.
Okay.
I don't think, honestly, I think Indiana Jones is one of those ones that's going to die with Harrison Ford. Not because I don't think others can't do a good job, but I just think his essence, what kind of created Indiana Jones. I mean, and Spielberg, like, don't get me wrong, like, Spielberg is an incredible director that I think.
I mean, we think that because we see somebody in a role and we're like, that's the role. But think about like 007.
James Bond.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. James Bond. Like, Connery. Like, there's been so many people that have been able to be in that role and done a successful job. Even Pierce Brosnan, I thought, was a good James Bond.
He's my favorite James Bond.
And Daniel Craig brought like a new element to it. The only series that we see where it's constantly changing and it's very like hit or miss and that usually misses is Batman. Like, most Batmans don't like live up to the hype.
I don't know. I feel like there's at least someone who likes every Batman.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I'm somebody like that who like I watch an Adam Sandler movie and I'm not like, this movie fucking sucks because it's not going to win any Oscars. Like, it's not an Oscar-worthy movie, so it's garbage. I watch Adam Sandler to like laugh at stupid jokes. So I have an expectation going in of what I'm expecting, and Adam Sandler usually accomplishes that. That's the same thing with me for Batman movies. Like, I've never watched a Batman. I walked over like, that Batman was fucking trash because Val Kilmer was trash. Like,
I don't know. You did say that about Joker in the pre-show.
I don't count that as a Batman movie. And I don't think Joaquin Phoenix did a bad job. I fucking hate that they turned chaotic evil, like this guy who's just the epitome of what evil is and just wants to create chaos, into like this pure evil bad guy. And they, in that movie, they instead made him like a person who has been created due to his situation in society, where he's been battered down and he's like mental illness and all this stuff. So it's not like he's not evil. He's become a bad guy based on his like the situations he's been in, and like kind of got pushed over the edge by society. And like, I don't look at Joker like that. I look at Joker as the opposite of Batman. He's just like this pure evil, wants to create chaos character, and that's what I hate about the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movies. I don't want to feel that like Joker's kind of like this misunderstood anti-hero in a way, who's like pushing back against the corrupt bad of society, of the hierarchy. But even in those movies, they make fucking Bruce Wayne's dad into like a total asshole.
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, so that's what I hate. Like, it's not a Batman movie. It's not it's just on its own, it'd be fine. But I don't look at it as a Batman film.
Fair. So, Indiana Jones, we like it.
I want to get okay. Now finish the Indiana Jones stuff, and I want to give you two real life stories real quick.
Okay, no, go for it. I think we were just wrapping up that thread.
So earlier, Tyler said something about killing it, and I was like, dude, I almost killed somebody on the weekend. Because
that's not good. My poor camera.
Admitting it on podcast.
Yeah.
Well, no. So like when I was like in my teenage years, I got mugged in front of a fucking Circle K, and I was in my car. right? And I didn't really know how to react. And like afterwards, my dad was with me, and he was in the store though, and like there's these two gangbangers, tried to steal my radio out of my car. Long story short, I just kind of froze in the moment. So I was young and never been in a situation like that. And afterwards, my dad was like, "Dude, you're in a fucking car. Like, run him over next time. Like you can protect yourself." And I was like, "Oh, you're right." So I was getting on the freeway in K-Town in LA, and this fucking asshole like cuts me off, right? So I give him like a little honk, and then he gets stuck behind this slow ass van on the on ramp because we're on the on ramp getting onto the 110 or onto the 10. So he's like gonna clearly like try to go around this van. So I go around because I have a short fuse, and like he's gonna cut me off again. I give him a little honk, and then I get into the on ramp lane.
Oh my
And
gosh.
like he's like fucking tilted now though. He is like fucking tilted out at me for giving him honking twice. So he actually like pit maneuvered, like not pit maneuver, but I get stuck in traffic and I can't move. He gets in front of my car and actually like blocks my car on the freeway, like as we're getting onto the freeway, and like starts to get out of his car. And he's like, "You got a fucking problem?" I'm like, "Nah, dude, I'm good. Like, I'm good." He's like, "You sure you don't got a fucking problem?" But dude, in my head, I wasn't freezing. And I was like, dude, if this guy gets out of his, actually, he has his door open and one step out, right? He's still sitting down though. And I'm like, if this guy gets out of his fucking car and starts walking towards my door, I'm going to floor my car and just run this fucking guy over. I'm going to like literally pin him against his car because the way my car was, and then he was pinned in front of me. So he's like literally right in front of my car. And then he blocked by his own car. I'm like, I'm going to fucking run you over, bro. Like, and that's what I was like going through my head. Like, oh my God, am I going to run someone over right now? So, yeah, just like a crazy experience.
That's intense.
Don't drive it.
Yeah. It was just
kind
of
of
crazy
live there anymore.
because I'm like, and then afterwards, I'm like running through the scenario. I'm like, would I get arrested in this scenario? But I'm like, I have a dash cam running in my car recording all the time. And I was like, if I showed this to like the police, and it's like, dude, he was approaching my vehicle. So for people who don't know, I was almost a cop. I've been through the whole testing, everything. But he's blocking my car from being able to exit, right? And approaching my vehicle. I don't know if he has a weapon or whatever. I actually think I'm well within my rights to protect myself and probably run the guy over in that scenario and not really suffer any consequences.
Probably, but
yeah, it was just kind of a wild. Yeah, sorry, I know it's totally off topic, but I haven't told anybody about this, and I haven't really wanted to talk about it to somebody. So it's just kind of a wild experience.
That is pretty wild.
Second, really quickly, that Hawaiian lady was found alive. She contacted her parents or her mom and sister, but it's like I think I told you this. Her dad killed himself because they couldn't find her. Right? It's like, how do you forgive your daughter?
Home?
Yeah, how do you come home? How do you come home after that? Like, you disappeared for a month, didn't tell anybody anything to the point where your dad thinks you're like trafficked or dead, kills himself out of grief. Then you contact your mom like, "Hey, I'm safe. I was just doing my own shit because I got scammed," or whatever the fuck the case may be. But it's like, if you're the mom and sister, it's like, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what you've done? Or maybe the relief that she's alive and contacted them is just so overwhelming after the grief of losing the husband and father that, but I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I felt bad for that family.
I assume, we shouldn't go too far down this rabbit hole, but I assume she didn't know, like, the damage, right? Like,
yeah.
How did she know that her dad was going to do that?
Yeah, for sure. Like, she didn't know. I just felt really bad for the family. It sucks how that all kind of shook out,
awful.
but hopefully they can reconcile. But all right, those are Dustin's real life stories. Clip it, whatever. Murder mystery section.
Dustin murder mystery spinoff.
Yeah.
He was the murderer the whole time.
The call is coming from inside the house. Yeah, wow. We've gone on some tangents, but boy, today has been the king of all of them.
Clip it.
Well,
clip it.
I'll finish us off on this section. That I've been playing a whole lot of things, including Indiana Jones, Space Marines 2, and 3. Like, I'm just bouncing around a lot. But the thing I've been playing the most is Delta Force. If you guys haven't heard of this game, it's a free game on Steam, and it's a shooter, kind of like Battlefield, like is what I would say. Like, it's closest to Battlefield. So it has like a Battlefield-ish kind of, 60 or whatever, 64, 54 class-based kind of thing, like the good Battlefields.
Is this the game that went viral like last year because people were like, this is like old school Battlefield, like this is what... Okay.
Maybe. I don't
or Gray Zone
remember.
Warfare.
Gray Zone Warfare is another one that I've played too, but this one has a lot of similarity in that. But Gray Zone Warfare is like a Tarkov thing, where it's like an attraction shooter. Though, however, Delta Force has that as a mode, and I've been playing it, and I really like it. So they have the Warfare mode, which is the battlefield, where you have these large scale battles. Really fun. Like I enjoy it. Like it's very much Battlefield, like to a T. And then they have Operator mode, and then they have a campaign mode that's coming, but it's still like in beta. So they haven't released a campaign yet, but it's going to be Black Hawk Down, basically. But the Operator mode is like Tarkov. It's extraction shooter. So you kit out your guy, you go and you do missions in these areas with other enemies, and they can kill you and whatnot. And that's actually, Ralph and I are going to try and stream that every Wednesday with our little, squad. So I think that'll be fun. But so, I mean, what I like about it is that it actually has that mode with the Battlefield Warfare mode, because I like that like operator extraction shooter kind of a thing, but I don't like being pigeonholed into only that, because every now and again I want to play like just a regular, kind of fight. And so I like that I have that option, and then the progression kind of carries over between the modes a little bit. I mean, it's not one for one, but if you unlock a skin in one mode, you can use it in the other. So there's a lot of overlap there, and I really like it. Like I've been playing, I think I have almost 30 hours in the last like 2 weeks.
Wow. So it's a free to play, and there's like microtransactions. Is there a battle pass?
There's a battle pass. So there's a battle pass right now, and there's a store with like microtransactions. Right now they're not too great. The battle pass is all right, but the microtransactions are pretty vanilla.
Is this the one you were complaining about on Threads, where you're like, I fucking hate battle passes that don't let me just do it on my own time?
I don't know if this was the one. I think it was actually Diablo 4, because I had the battle pass for Diablo 4 because I bought the deluxe edition or something like that, but I'm not going to have the time to finish it. And so I'm like, motherfucker, like I shouldn't have bought this shit, but I bought the deluxe for other reasons. But like, I was like, God, I want the stuff. I just don't want to do it right now. Like I want to give me like a month or whatever.
I thought you might have been talking about COD.
No, I uninstalled it. I only reinstalled it when Tyler asked me to play zombies. But that's it for me. I've been going full hog on Delta Force and then Indiana Jones. So was thinking about playing Hunt Showdown. I know that we'll talk about this probably a little bit, but during the Game Awards, Hunt Showdown had a trailer for their like new season, I guess you could call it.
Yeah, what was it?
Murder
a new
Circus?
mode, a new season?
It's like a season. Well, they re-released the game, so it was Hunt Showdown. And then, I don't know, last year they re-released it as Hunt Showdown 1896 with kind of a new skin. The gameplay is more or less the same, but the menu and kind of the way the game is managed is ever so slightly different. But they just released a new season called Murder Circus, which I guess has like a battle pass, skins, all that stuff, with Post Malone as kind of the face of that season. That does not interest me in the slightest, but it did make me remember of the fun times that we had playing that game, so I downloaded it and might play around later. Because one of the reasons why this just like lined up for me is because I was thinking the other day, I was like, there are no good bounty hunter games. Because I was watching Cowboy Bebop, one of my favorite shows of all time, and I'm thinking to myself, why the hell is there so few games, if really any games, that emulate that style of bounty hunter? To this day, I would say there isn't even any that really do it justice.
I guess, and I can think of games that have bounty hunting in them, but not like dedicated to it.
Yeah, there's ones that, okay, I'm not counting ones that it's like a side gig or has it as like a side mission path.
Right, like Metaphor ReFantazio, there's bounty hunting I can do, but it's not like what you're thinking of.
Yeah, I'm thinking of that as like the main story arc, kind of, and like even the tone I would appreciate, but that's not a killer for me. And I'm trying to think of any, and I can't. Like Hunt Showdown, you're a bounty hunter, quote unquote, and you're hunting monsters. The closest thing I can think of is Monster Hunter, but that's not, that's monster hunting. Slight variation of the same concept. There's the bounty hunter. It's not a bounty hunter. I guess you could think of it that way.
Bounty Hunter.
I was going to bring that up. So there's the game Star Wars Bounty Hunter, but that also is more of just a linear story game than it is an actual bounty hunting game, right? Like you're not
Red Dead Redemption, maybe. Like
that's another one I was thinking of that has like a pretty close, but that's also like a side thing, right? Like it's kind of like a side bit. But I would say Red Dead's probably one of the closer ones to actually realizing that like goal. But God, I would love, maybe Intergalactic for all we know. Like, we don't know much about that game. Maybe you play like a sci-fi bounty hunter.
Like a bounty hunter game.
They call you a bounty hunter in the game.
Maybe,
like you
but
are
it's
a
like
bounty
a
hunter.
seek and destroy,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean,
game.
Is that not kind of what a bounty hunter is?
But like I guess like the back half of the bounty hunter situation like is where like there's no story element to it where you're like this guy and like you're trying to seek out specific people and like get their thing and turn it in for a specific quest. Like I feel that's more like bounty huntery, where this is just like there's a monster, go like take your group and kill them before the other people kill him. And
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, like
no, I agree. I agree. I mean, and that's why I'm saying, like, I don't think there's really, like, a good, definitive bounty hunter game. Oh, you know what? I forgot the best one, though. The closest thing is one of my favorite games of all time, The Witcher 3.
Yeah, and I guess The Witcher is a pretty good bounty hunter game.
I want to start off by saying, like, I acknowledge that one as the one. But I was like, oh, man, like, I would love, like, something that was, like, Cowboy Bebop. And then The Hunt showed up, and I was kind of like, it's not that, but my mind was already in that direction, so that's kind of why I picked that game up.
The one thing I love about Hunt Showdown, which I think some people don't even realize, is that it's made by Crytek, the creators of Crysis. And like Crysis was just like such an insane fucking game when it came out in like the mid 2000s.
And it was such a hyped game.
Yeah, and then like Crysis just like went away, and like Crytek didn't do anything for like 10 years, it felt like. Like, well, not 5. Crysis 3 came out in 2013.
Crysis
and
3
came out in 2018. But Crysis 3 didn't do very well, I don't think. It was kind of like the end of the series at that point. But yeah, it was just nice to kind of see Crytek, come back out swinging with such a cool game that's, now 6 years old and still chugging along.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's like $20. I'm actually surprised, honestly, it's not a free to play. That's one of my criticisms with it. I mean, I have it from like way back in the day when we used to play it, because Dustin and I would play it randomly. But it feels like a free to play to me, so I don't think it's worth the price tag. But if that's something, hopefully they make it free to play eventually, especially because there's so many microtransactions. It has a battle pass and all that stuff, so it's like you pay $20 and you get that.
I think it's 15. I think it's worth $15.
Is it 15?
Is that what you said, Tyler, earlier? It's 15, or is it 20?
Yeah. It's on sale, though. It's 30 regularly.
It might be steep, but it's a fun game that we've been playing for years off and on. I mean, so if you look at it that point of view, like, I feel like we've got $30 value out of that thing.
Certainly. I mean, I guess I'm misrepresenting.
It's a great game if you have a small group of friends who like to play shooters. It's not a game I ever want to just jump on and play by myself, because it does take a lot of teamwork coordination there. And if like you're just with some randoms, it's like playing PUBG by yourself. Okay. And you join like a group of 4 or 3 in this, and like that's a terrible fucking experience, for the most part, unless you get really lucky. And so Hunt's kind of the same way. It's not a game I'd ever want to play solo. But if you have a group like this, like we have, who all want to jump on and play, tons of fun.
Yeah.
You'll definitely get money worth out of it.
And it's a slower combat, which I like, because the gun, it takes place in the early late 1800s. And so all the guns are like really slow to reload and slow to fire. So it's like you have like one good shot, and then it's like gotta like, lever action the gun or something
carefully.
Yeah. So it's not like somebody's sprinting through the map and jumps on with double Uzis and then runs away. It's like a really slow, methodical game. So that's really fun. Okay, so moving on to our next section. Now let us hear from you. It's time to ask Pixelated Realms, where we answer your questions and read your comments. If you'd like to join the conversation, just head over to pixelatedrealms.org/ask. Let's dive into what you've been curious about. So we have 2 questions from Ralph. Let's go through those. So Ralph's first question is there a AAA video game series that you have not played or not enjoyed despite the hype around it? Why didn't you play it or like it? Good question. I love that.
I haven't played Uncharted or The Last of Us.
We need to pre-read these questions so I can think about it.
I have meant to do that, and I totally forgot that. It's my bad. Usually we pre-read these.
I have not played any Naughty Dog games. I've not played The Last of Us or the Uncharted series, and that is simply because I did not have a PlayStation 4, and I never bought one. But it's been a game, The Last of Us especially, that I do want to play. And I've purposely not watched the series because even though I generally know what happens, but yeah, haven't played either of those because I didn't have a PlayStation.
Wow, I mean, you have one now. Play The Last of Us. Jesus,
I will when the remaster's out.
it's
I guess
out, isn't it? Pretty sure
two is going to be coming out too.
Okay, well, yeah, but the Last of Us 1 is out.
I'm thinking like
Funny.
Silent Hill. I haven't played any of those games. Trying to think of other major I am such a variety gamer. I'll try anything, even if I don't like it. I'm trying to think of like huge. I mean, Dragon Age, I guess, is one. I've probably
never played Dragon
like
Age.
20 hours of over the course of like multiple Dragon Age games, and I still have not liked a single one. I don't know. That's
I'm
the
surprised
combat
because I
for me.
felt like that would be like totally up your alley.
Yeah, no, Origins couldn't do it. 1, 2, like Veilguard I haven't tried yet because I just don't think I'm gonna like it. And then Inquisition, I did like. I put about 10 hours into it, but then I was like, I don't ever want to play this game again. So I don't know.
Yeah.
That's one I genuinely I see it on RPG lists all the time. Best RPG ever, Dragon Age Origins, and I'm like, I want to love it, but I just can't.
Yeah, I think for me, I would say the new Black Ops is one that I think people hyped up that I didn't like. And then Dragon's Dogma this year, I think was one that I didn't love. And I thought I was going to. I don't know what about it. It just didn't hook me correct. Like it was too immersion breaking too often for me to love it.
I do got one other that I have over 100 hours in, and that is Destiny. It's a AAA game,
Everybody
and I honestly
Destiny, but they love it.
In theory, I don't really like it, but I've played quite a bit.
Destiny is one of those games that people are like, I hate this game, I hate it, but here, it has all my money and time.
I think that's rich coming from the person who was trying to get me to pay the money and time to play the game.
I love Destiny. I'm a huge Destiny
Destiny's
fan.
campaign stuff is fantastic, but as soon as you finish that, the game becomes so repetitive that it's just like you want to just like stab yourself in the face.
Yeah, their end game has always been just a nightmare. And as somebody who has almost 2,000 hours, I can attest that it is a nightmare. And I did like it, but I wanted it to be better because it felt like it could have been better. But this is not a Destiny podcast.
And just to be really clear, Tyler and I love MMORPGs. We have fucking thousands of hours in World of Warcraft. It is not that we don't like questing and tens of thousands. It's not like we don't like quests, and it's not like that we don't like dungeons. Destinies are just fucking boring.
Yeah.
I just get bored of shooting, and then it's like, well, do the raid, and the raid's like, well, shoot these specific things, and then jump through these puzzles, and I'm just like, I don't like platformers either.
That's probably actually a good point, is that like in WoW, like every person is a different class. Not every person you have makeups.
You're not unique in Destiny.
Yeah, you don't feel unique. You're a different class, you have different abilities, and maybe you have to do some like special thing at a certain time. But like as a healer, like I just have like moments in raids where like I could just pull off some fucking crazy shit, and it's like
save the day,
save the fucking day. Like I have fond memories of like being a druid and like being one of the best druids in the world. Like not even overstating that at the time when I had good reflexes, and like our fucking main tank dying in Blackwing Lair in vanilla, and like darting around the corner and fucking nature swiftness, rebirth, fucking full dots back up, and the
point is
raid
it makes you feel like hot shit. Like it makes you feel good.
Yeah, you feel fucking good. Like you just made a difference, and like that doesn't. I've never got that vibe in Destiny.
True story. Well, I'm going to move on to the next question because I want to get to the Game Awards stuff. We're not even close. Yeah. The second question is another comparison, and this one's easy. This isn't even going to be a fight. So, original Black Ops Zombies theme music versus the Halo theme.
I don't remember the Halo? Black Ops Zombies music.
Exactly. Halo theme is just dunked on this one. This isn't even a question.
As the resident music expert, like the Halo music's like the progenitor of like video game music being taken seriously, besides like Japan. And so in truth, like although Japan was way ahead of the game and already making like composition, like incredible works for video games, it wasn't until Halo that the Western world adopted.
Best soundtrack ever, Nier Automata.
Yeah, thank you, Ralph, for writing in.
Thanks,
we really
Ralph.
appreciate it. If you've made it this far through the podcast and you're still listening, it is your job to go to pixelatedrealms.org/ask and write in a goddamn question. but we would really appreciate it. Or a comment or just a request. You want to request us to talk about a game you like? Do it. We need more people to write in. We really love to hear it. Okay.
I have a question for you guys. Hold on. It's going to lead us into Game Awards. So I know, I'm sorry. I'm really making this podcast long.
42. The answer.
At the Game Awards, we saw a couple holy shit moments. We got Witcher 4.
Yeah.
That was the big
but
one.
We also got this new IP from Naughty Dog, Intergalactic, right? Which, as a PR person, a marketing person, I was excited about. The game looks really cool, all that stuff. But something I've been saying for fucking years is, why is there not product placement in video games? It is like, in my opinion, the future of advertising. Video games are the most popular source of entertainment amongst young people.
Yeah.
Like more than like movies and music combined in terms of revenue, I believe. So why do we not see more product placement advertising in video games? And there's this huge negative stigma around it. So basically, like, gamers and people are like, wow, fucking Coke bottle? What a fucking cash grab by Naughty Dog to try to do that, right? But no one says shit in their favorite movie or favorite music video or basically every other piece of entertainment. There's product placement advertising, but video games get an unfair amount of backlash for it, in my opinion. So
I think it's done well.
Yeah, what's your opinion on product placement advertising in video games?
So let me set the stage a little bit behind this question. So if you're listening to this and you didn't see the Game Awards, okay? So Game Awards also announced quite a few cool new things. We already said the two big ones, right? So The Witcher 4 has a trailer. If you haven't seen that and you're excited, go see the trailer. It's awesome.
It was the best part.
We'll talk about that a little bit. And then Naughty Dog came out with Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, which is their new sci-fi adventure game, space adventure game. And in it, which you should go watch, and I'm not going to spoil anything about too deeply. Maybe later we'll talk about it, but for now. But they had a little bit of placement. For instance, like it's a Sony studio, so they had like a Sony Walkman. They had a Sony this. They had her spaceship was a Porsche.
Yeah,
stuff like
it
that.
So they had like enough.
Okay, so that's the thing is, I think it totally makes sense. It builds immersion, in my opinion, if it's done correctly. Now, if it's done with no class, if it's just tossed in as like if there's a fucking ad directly in the middle of my game, I'm gonna be pissed. But
sure,
doesn't it also tell us something extremely important about the game, right? It tells us that it takes place in our Earth, right? Or a similar one to it, yeah.
And this game takes place in the 80s, which is why you see a Walkman.
But they have intergalactic travel?
It's retrofuturism. How like Blade Runner, how it's like they have future technology, but they haven't like shrunk the semiconductor down small, so it's like everything's still clunky.
Weyland-Yutani, beep 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 beep.
Right, exactly. Everything's like CRT monitors and stuff like that. Like she had like a CD player.
Vibes.
Yeah, so it's like they were able to accomplish things with less fancy technology, right? The technology's clunky. But back to your question about like advertising, like I agree. I think it has to be done with class though. And I think gamers, not counting the shitty, stupid ones who talk about wokeness, but the like people who actually have a good interest in the quality of their games.
Monetization.
Yeah, I think they're skeptical, and they've seen things like battle pass, manipulation and microtransaction abuse and stuff like that, and so they're like hesitant, and so that's why they're like so against this kind of a thing. But I kind of with you, where like I feel like it can enhance the immersion in kind of the way the game plays, because like you were saying, like I thought it was really cool that the car was a Porsche, or in Cyberpunk you drive a Porsche in for one of the cars, like, and I think that's totally cool. And I like if I saw a Coke bottle in Cyberpunk, I wouldn't bat an eye. I totally think that makes sense.
I think it's from a narrative perspective, like I said, it just means a lot. It's putting us it's giving us a lot of context clues without having to. We know this is not only it's a Porsche, so it's a expensive, right? Starcraft that she was,
Yeah. Then the other thing I saw, as I was having a very polite but like interesting conversation with someone on Twitter who, like, to take this one step farther before we like actually dive into the Game Awards itself, their point of view was that Coca-Cola is such a big company, as an example, that they think that Naughty Dog should pay a licensing fee to be able to put a Coca-Cola bottle in the game. And I'm like, you are fucking insane. Like, you really think Naughty Dog's gonna pay like $2 million to Coke or whatever?
No way.
Why would they do
product
that?
placement? I was like, dude, Coke, like,
But should be begging them.
Yeah, her point was like, or this person's point, I think it was a woman, was that Coke is so big they don't need Naughty Dog to advertise. I was like, dude, Coke is like arguably one of the. Well, Coke is also arguably one of the top, most recognizable brands in the fucking world. If that was the case, then they wouldn't advertise at all. But they still do. They still sponsor sports teams. They still fucking have commercials during the Super Bowl.
Their marketing budget is in the millions, hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah,
billions.
It's
in the
silly
billions.
Argument that Coca-Cola is so big that they wouldn't advertise a Naughty Dog. But also, this game is likely to probably see like around 50 to 100 million people, right?
Not
like,
counting all of the views on YouTube and
which
stuff
is already capped over 1 million people on the YouTube, I think, or maybe even 4 million, I think. That was a lot of people already have watched the YouTube video, trailer. So I was like, dude, there's no fucking way. Like they're going to give, not only like allow Coca-Cola or Porsche or whomever to have that much visibility, but then pay them to.
They should be paying them.
Get that. Yeah. So please, publishers, marketing teams, learn and start fucking product placement. If you can sell product placement for $10 million, okay, in your video game, I have to start with AAA because they can guarantee the views. That replaces 147,000 copies at $70. I did the math earlier. So think about like, and sure, like, from an artistic point of view, me and one of my former colleagues were talking about this, like maybe like a developer's, oh, it hurts the art. Yeah, but you know what? Maybe that also saves your fucking job. Maybe that gives you more bandwidth. Maybe,
and maybe it doesn't hurt the art though. Like what it like if it makes sense within the context of the game. Now, like I would totally make sense if there's a Coca-Cola bottle in Dragon's Dogma. I'm gonna think like, what the hell? This doesn't make any damn sense.
Sure.
But like in a space game or a modern game or something like that, like it totally makes sense.
A game set in the real world, or even like a dystopian world, like Nier Automata could 100% have like fucking crinkled up Coke cans on the ground or whatever,
In defense of movie viewers, though, like, if it is really egregious, like, you watch, like, I can't think of an exact example, but maybe, like, the Need for Speed films or something. But it's just, like, every car, Mercedes, right? And, like, it's just, they drive right in front of the camera and park the Mercedes logo. That's where it's, like, it's beyond, like, world building. You are literally placing the product in front of the camera, and that's where people call it out.
Yeah.
Sure.
And, thinking about it a little bit, I think the reason why it hasn't happened is fidelity. So games haven't had good enough fidelity. Let's just keep using the Coke example to have a Coke can that think of Half-Life 2. Think of a Coke can in Half-Life 2. It'd probably be like just one color. It would just be
it's like a polygon
red, and it would just have some silver top and bottom, right? There wasn't fidelity then where you could be like, that's a Coke can, right? So the fidelity to get there
has
only
properly
happened in the last, 8 years or so, probably. Within those 8 years, gaming companies are now having to make all these relationships and understand how product placement works because they've never had to do it before. And in an industry like this, 8 years is nothing. That's like a small amount of time. So they haven't had enough time to be able to even figure out how to get that process going. That's my guess, because like
I
this
also
is
think
super
to
new.
Do with these games take 5-8 years to make. So like, are you having those contract conversations that early? Can you trust advertising team to keep your fucking new IP or whatever like under NDA for that long, and it's not going to leak out? So the more people you start involving in a process, higher chance you have the information start seeping. And like these games before they're announced are like fucking just locked in like a vault, basically, right? In terms of not wanting information out there. So I think that could also be a part of the case. Like they're a little bit nervous. Like Naughty Dog would have to go to Coca-Cola and be like, hey, we're creating this new game. Can't tell you shit about it, but it's gonna fucking do numbers. And we'd love to have Coca-Cola cans in it. Or bottles, like, what do you think? And Coca being like, well, can you tell us, like, what's the game? What's the setting? Like, not really. You know, granted, they could just make like a placeholder graphic, and if Coke buys in, you update that little thing. If they don't, then it just stays a generic red can. Not that. But yeah, I think leaks and sensitivity around information is also a big.
Yeah. I mean, they do have it. Like, I'm looking, like, Burger King has, like, a bunch of, they can play playable characters in games. Powerade, I guess.
Do you remember, like, Tony Hawk had, like, I want to say, like, Mountain Dew cans or something like that?
Slim Jim guy.
Slim Jim guy. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And people are saying there's, like, tons of, like, billboards that have, like, there's, like, Verizon billboards in Alan Wake, I guess, stuff like that. So, I mean, there's, like, monster cans in Death Stranding, So,
yeah,
it does exist.
It does exist. It just hasn't been completely normalized yet. I think in the next 2 to 5 years, we'll see it become much more normalized.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Yeah, great question.
I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily.
I want to talk about the Game Awards, though, because people who are listening to this want to hear, I think, about like what happened. So let's just go and kind of. Yeah. So okay, then let's just start with that. So we talked about The Witcher 4. We'll talk about that again. We'll talk about Intergalactic again. But Game of the Year and Best Game Direction went to Astrobot. A big surprise for a lot of people, but I called it, so I did not think that was a big surprise. But what do you guys think?
It was a huge surprise for me, but I have gone and downloaded the Playroom, which is the demo Astrobot, basically. Mm-hmm. And I do revoke what I said before and realize I did not actually play the game. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that was when you said you only did the lobby.
I thought it was just like a lobby. I didn't realize there was actually like a whole progression in there.
Yeah, you're literally in the menu of the game, and you thought that was the game. That's how good that game is.
So I was surprised, but I don't know. We talked about this a little bit on the stream, I think, or I might have mentioned this. But while I think people were surprised because of some of the big, huge AAAs that were up there, like Final Fantasy Rebirth, you had the Elden Ring DLC, you had Balatro, which took home a bunch of awards, even though it was solo dev, not AAA. It was surprising, but I think it's, again, only really that surprising for people who haven't played Astrobot because the game is made in such a way that just every part of like the Sony haptics and the controller, everything like that is just to its full extent. Like you're getting like, you blow on the fucking controller to like turn the fan, it rumbles. Like, I mean, like, every
it just
piece
perfectly utilizes the hardware.
Yeah, it's so good.
It utilized the hardware to an extreme that no other game does, and it's just fascinating. And I think when you take that into account, it makes a lot of sense on why it would really blow people away. And hopefully, people start investing more in those kind of like mechanics instead of just relying on rumble, but actually like take advantage of what the PlayStation 5 controller can do and how much it can really just enhance the experience.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot who was saying it, but it's like, it's so optimized for the PS5 that they're able to take full control, use the full power of like the sound and all the haptics, everything without having to worry about any other consoles or anything like that. And they do it just like absolutely perfectly. And it's super great. So, I mean, I'm not surprised. It's a platformer. And, as much as platformers don't really have much of a stake right now in the like cut of games, they're kind of the OG game. And so I was not surprised, with like Super Mario and stuff like that. And so I'm not surprised that we get a really good platformer that people are like, yeah, that's the one.
And they definitely shouted out Nintendo.
Although they wouldn't officially say it. There was people on Twitter talking about that where it's like, do you just not want to say Nintendo because you work for Sony?
Because they'll sue you, or because Sony will be mad,
I mean, it's kind of weird, to not just be like, yeah, we were inspired by all the great games, that we've seen Nintendo be coming out with the last 20, 30 years.
Nintendo has the best lawyers in the world, so they're scared.
Yeah, they don't, like, you don't want to, I guess you don't say even Nintendo's name or you're going to get sued. Man, that's crazy.
They who shall not be named.
Yeah, but,
they who cannot create online multiplayer.
A lot of good winners, Metaphor Refantasia took a bunch of stuff. Baldur's Gate 3 again. Balatro took home a bunch of things. Black Myth Wukong took home.
Solo dev kind of like surprised me a little bit because he started shitting on EA a little bit afterwards.
Really?
What did he say?
No, but it wasn't the dev. He was someone else representing the dev. They said it when they went up to give their acceptance speech. They said, "Yeah, he doesn't want the limelight, but I'm here to accept this on behalf of."
No, but on Twitter. Yeah, on Twitter, he said he made some comment about EA in terms of like microtransactions and shit. And I was like, kind of a little bit weird to like take a swipe at EA when like yeah,
you just got an award.
you probably have enough fucking money at this point to just like retire and like. I think like the game has sold like 15 million copies or something at like 30
Yeah,
bucks
it's just
or
one
20
guy,
bucks
so
each.
he's taking home at least half
he's
of that.
just like crushing it, right? Like it wasn't even published, so he's not even giving a cut to anybody. So just like fucking hand over fist money. But
congratulations
kind of
to
like a little
Blatcho.
bit weird. And then you also had. Speaking of like people taking swipes, but like, did you guys see the Black Myth Wukong?
Yeah,
Creator.
That was so unnecessary, dude.
They have just been controversy after controversy. Like it's like China finally gets a win, and then they come out and do all this weird, semi-racist kind of shit that they're doing, or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, like that. I didn't see any of that, but the thing that came out afterwards was like this guy who the director or whatever, the owner of the studio, basically was like, why did I fly to the USA for this? Like, I wrote this acceptance speech 2 years ago for this game, and like, I don't understand the criteria for what was chosen on why we didn't win. Just
no
like
humility,
this, like, sore loser mentality, fucking speech. Post online about just like, just real sore loser shit. I didn't really think it was cool. Like, I've seen some people kind of calling out that one of the developers, the Game Awards on the Black Myth Wukong team was crying, like upset crying that they lost. And I thought that was kind of shitty because, these guys put so much work into this stuff. And, if like you were really hoping to win and like have that accomplishment and you lost and it like
you don't want it to be aired.
Cry, that's just someone that cares. I don't really think that was cool that person's kind of got a little bit of shit, but yeah, the director guy or whomever that guy was who created the game, like, that's weird shit. To just like, like I said,
is
sore loser.
This studio's just been controversial from the moment they've existed, though. Like,
basically,
we've reported on them several times.
Yeah.
Another cool call out: Helldivers 2 got best multiplayer game. I mean,
so glad for that.
I'm glad I got an award. Amazing game. And there's a new content drop. They released the new bad guys, the Illuminati.
The Illuminate. Illuminate.
Oh, Illuminate.
I thought it was Illuminati too.
The Illuminate. Yeah, they basically like mind control people, and so it's kind of like zombies.
I mean, it's not what it's inspired on, right? You don't call it the Illuminate unless you want people to make the connection to Illuminati.
Cool. Well, I really want to talk about is The Witcher 4, Intergalactic, and then maybe a little Okami. So Okami 2 also got announced. So if you're a big Okami fan, that's probably a big drop for you. Now, Okami's big for a lot of people. I loved that game, but I didn't realize, like Jeff Keighley was like, this is a moment emotional. That makes you... Yeah, he was like real tense about it. He's like, this is a gaming moment. And it was like Okami 2. And I was like, I didn't realize Okami like meant that much to people. Like I knew it was a popular game, but I didn't realize it was like that big. But...
It is... It's on a lot. I look at a lot of lists of like the best games of all time and things like that, and it makes a lot of top 10 of best games of all time.
That makes sense. So excited about that.
I think there's a lot of people.
Let's talk about the two big fish that I want to, I think we're going to be most interested in. So The Witcher 4. Let's talk about that one first. Holy shit! Does that look really good? Like
I never played The Witcher 3.
You're such a piece of shit. Play the goddamn game. You gotta play it, but it's like a 50-hour game. So good luck.
It's so long. Yeah, I'm just
60.
Like,
yeah, I'm like I have one trophy away from platinum, and I've literally had that one trophy sitting for like 3 or 4 or 5 years, and the trophy is the Gwent cards. I haven't collected all the Gwent cards, and I've literally looked up lists online, and I've tried to go and find them, but they're like I'm too far in the game, so I have to restart, and I just don't do that.
That's my issue with Spider-Man 2. I'm like, I don't want to fucking restart because I'm too far to be able to do one of the missions to get the final trophy. Sorry.
Right. But okay, The Witcher 4. So the big drop was that Ciri is now the main protagonist. Honestly, no big shocker there.
Surprise.
I know there's a lot of people online. They're like, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, dude, The Witcher 3 was literally about that. It's literally about her becoming.
If you beat The Witcher 3, this is not a surprise to you.
No.
If you didn't beat it, then you have no right to be surprised.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
But it looks awesome. She, and it's very much the like traditional Witcher thing where it's like nobody's the good guy. Everything is a gray zone. Everybody sucks. Because it's like, it starts off with her, like, this village is about to sacrifice. Some spoilers here. So if you skip 30, 40 seconds if you want to watch it, or pause now and go watch it. Same thing with Intergalactic. Pause now, go watch it. It's like a couple of minutes. But they go and they're like going to sacrifice this girl to like fend off a monster. And Ciri's like, no, fuck that. Like, let me just go kill it. she goes and kills it, comes back, and they've sacrificed that girl anyways. And they're like, and she's like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now?"
Yeah.
And
they're like, but you have to sacrifice. We always sacrifice someone.
Yeah. And so, it's setting that tone of like that brutalness that Witcher's known for, and having that like the people are just as bad as the monsters.
Yeah.
And looks really cool. And I want to talk about like one, the graphics look amazing. I mean, it's like it was like a cutscene, so it definitely wasn't in game. Nothing about what we saw was in game. It was definitely a cutscene, but like the graphics look intense and awesome. But I like the way Ciri looked. Like I don't know what it was, but like she looks older. It looks like we could, Witchers, they age differently than people. Like Geralt's like 150 in Witcher 3 or something. So it's like, for all we know, she could be like 80 at this point. This could be 50 years past Witcher 3, and a lot could go on. But they were showing, a little bit of magic, some magic we haven't seen before. She used the potions and things like that. All the great stuff we wanted to know that was still in the game is clearly still in there. I'm excited. Now, the part that's going to bring me down is, when do you think we're getting this game?
2 years from now?
6 at the latest? Sorry, at the earliest?
Late 2026? Yeah, or
I'd say
2027.
fall 2026. Probably.
Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee you it's not coming out next year because of GT.
Although, well, that's not necessarily true. But it's different studios. But like, they're like, people want to win Game of the Year, but people aren't that up on like where they're going to delay a game for a year to not fuck around with GTA.
I don't even think it's about the award, but
they'll be spaced out, like, for sure. But it just depends, like from working in the industry, like, most AAA games I've worked on, it's about a 9-month campaign, like, or even shorter. Like every Battlefield game I ever worked on, or Star Wars Battlefront, we announced the game in May. We did an E3 beat, and then we would do a different beat in July sometimes, or it'd be Gamescom, and then we would pretty much do like a beta in September, and then we would launch in October or late September. Like, that was like the roadmap pretty much every single game ever worked on for EA. But it's different for I mean, like Anthem was a little bit different. Anthem, they announced at EA Play, and then then they showed like a massive amount of gameplay the next EA Play, and then it came out in February the next year. So that was like from reveal to actual out was just under 2 years. So you never know, but I wouldn't be shocked, is what I'm saying, if it came out fall 2025. But I think it's more likely to be fall 2026.
Yeah, I just don't see it being any earlier than that. Especially like, I mean, I'm sure they've been working on it for a while, but that's a big game, and they're gonna want to come out of it after Cyberpunk, and they're gonna want to like hit the ground with style, and I expect them to do that, and I think they're gonna have to take their time to do that, even if they've been working on this game for 5, 6, 7 years. But I mean, did the trailer get you guys excited? Like, was that?
Yeah, no, that was the most exciting one of the night for me. I mean, The Witcher 4 has the potential to be the best RPG of all time, because The Witcher 3 was one of the best RPGs of all time. So, yeah. But, we can't tell more until we see gameplay.
Yep, agreed. I can't wait to see when... I'm hoping for gameplay. Probably, it probably isn't going to be till summer at least. We'll probably get gameplay around like Summer Games Fest time, maybe, if we're lucky. But I don't know. We'll have to hold our breath. Then next on the list is Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet. So this is kind of the end cap of the show. So this was Naughty Dog's new project, brand new IP for them. It's a retro space adventure game, and you play as, let me get what's her name? You play as Jordan A. Munn, who is stranded on a remote planet searching for a crime syndicate. So that's kind of the deal. And like I said, pause video, go watch the trailer, come back. But they teased a lot of fun stuff, like it's in space. She had a sword that she was beating down some like robot thing with. Very narrative driven, as of all Naughty Dog stories are. Had really cool product placement in it that felt very natural. That's why we were bringing that up. It felt very like Ridley-verse to me, like the Blade Runner Alien kind of stuff, where it was like, they had that reference to Akira with the CD changer in her spaceship, which is kind of this like fun juxtaposition of like old tech and new. But it looked cool. Like, what are you guys' thoughts?
I wasn't expecting the gameplay when we got to see it, where she was like on this on this planet, fighting like this big monster. And that was kind of surprising. I thought it looked really cool. The sword gave me Echo vibes from League of Legends, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I thought it looked pretty bitchin'. I loved the trailer. I loved, we talked about product placement earlier. I do like that immersion. I think that was pretty cool. I loved when they did that in Into the Spider-Verse, where he was wearing real Jordans and had like a Sony Walkman and that. So I think that's pretty cool. I hope Naughty Dog got paid for it. But,
well, Sony owns it all.
Well, Sony doesn't own Porsche, but yeah, they do own a Walkman. But yeah, I thought the trailer looked awesome. This game, shit. I mean, they did show gameplay spring 2027.
Yeah.
I think it's probably years away, honestly. But again, I would not be shocked if they surprised us and it came out in 2025. I would be surprised. I'd be surprised, but not shocked.
Yeah, this one's a lot harder of a call for me because I feel the same where, like, The Witcher, I can tell you, I'm like, I know for sure it's not coming out next year. Like, I just know how they work. Naughty Dog, however, they're a little more mysterious. And so, like, this could either be, like you said, like, this could be like a next year game, or this could be a 2028 game. Like, I wouldn't be surprised with either. So it's hard to say, especially like you said, there's a little bit of, gameplay. They showed like a 5-second clip of gameplay or something like that. Who knows? Who knows where this could be?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's just too little to tell right now. It obviously is a really cool concept, but we'll just have to wait to hear more to really know.
I mean, The Last of Us 2 was announced December 3rd, 2016. And I don't know if this is accurate. This feels wrong, but it's saying online that the game came out June 19th, 2020. Did that game really only come out 4 years ago?
Because it
feels older.
Was it a COVID? Yeah. It was a COVID game.
It was.
Wow.
Because Katie still has it wrapped in its case. She never played it or opened it.
So if you look at that timeline, right, that was like 3.5 years from the time of reveal to the time of release. Who fucking knows? We could be sitting here in 2027, when we've got like 1 million followers and be like, hey, that game's finally coming out.
Yeah, remember we talked about this? Yeah, right. We're going to have less followers then than we have now.
Solid down
we're going to catch on that we're a bunch of
dorks. Okay? Trying to retire through YouTube by then.
Yeah, just talk about video games, quit our jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, but I agree. There's just not enough information. Like, at least with The Witcher, we kind of know what we're getting because it's like a sequel. But with Intergalactic, we know nothing. All we know is it's space and there's a sword. So
I mean, Dragon Age Valgard got teased at Game Awards like 2019. It was just a logo on the screen. We didn't have a name.
It's not doing good.
Yeah. I mean, they also teased the Mass Effect game at some point.
I'm just saying, it took like 5 years.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really unusual for EA, but also BioWare has like gone through the shit. So, I'm saying the timeline is absolutely like undeterminable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Highly recommend you guys go and check out our stream that we live react to all of the Game Awards as we go through it. It was, very fun. It was very long. It was like 3 hours long, and they definitely need to shorten it up. It is way too long, but in like half of it, if you were to, it would be like half as long if you were to cut out the ad space. That even like half of the ads would have cut it down. But
it was 3 hours and 10 minutes long.
Yeah,
absurdly long. Especially if you're sitting there, like at least we can like
if you're sitting in that audience,
get some food and all that. You put to sit there for over 3 hours straight, like. It's not a fucking Lord of the Rings movie, like Jesus.
And you're on camera, TV.
Especially if you're like in the front row, right? Like one of the major people, you're like, oh shit, like I can't even go take a piss because of this shit. I'm in the front row. I guess are we gonna go on any other ones, or are we about to close out?
I was gonna close it out, but unless you got something.
I was gonna just say, if you're one of the fucking clowns on the internet making fun of this game or talking shit on this game because it's a black woman with a shaved head, go fuck yourself.
Isn't she Asian? But doesn't matter.
Whatever. A minority woman. And
there you
go woke, go broke. Like, go fuck yourself.
Stop wasting your time, right?
Like, the game's coming out. You're bitching and crying. It's not going to change anything. Stop being an asshole. Just fucking enjoy video games, man. Just enjoy video games. Like, Jesus Christ.
Seriously. Like, get over it.
Amen.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to be notified when we post new episodes. We post new episodes every Tuesday on podcast services and on YouTube. You can also find us on Instagram, Threads, Patreon, and YouTube at Pixelated Realms Podcast. Thank you all very much.
Bye bye.